right, welcome back to Melgar Media, everyone. I know it's been a second, so I'll just give a brief synopsis on why I took a little break. Just had to handle some personal things, get some stuff reset, moved into a new place. So now I have a studio of mine, which is basically the second bedroom of my place. But I'm super excited to be back. Like I said, I know it's been a little bit, but I just wanted to kind of situate and recalculate how I wanted to format a show, more so the way that it's more cohesive. And so from now on, I think instead of being like what is new out or reviews on things and or suggestions, I'm just going to put it all into one show. And it's going to be more of like reviews, rants, and recommendations. So I'll just try and stick to that pattern of each show and go through. But like I said, sometimes I'll just go off the cuff, so it won't be so dry, you know. And I know that you have to be kind of a character to be viewed on YouTube. So nobody wants to sit here and hear something reverberated from IMDb, which I get some of my facts from, but other just such, you know, sources that you're like, okay, well, I could have read that. Thank you. Boring. So we'll just start off. We'll get right into it. Thanks for coming back and joining me. And let's get started on just some reviews and stuff. I thought right now would be a great time to come back, especially with the new Star Wars content that is coming out or just came out, the first two episodes of Ahsoka. I'm not going to dive too deep into that because I think there are some great channels that break that stuff down really well, like Star Wars Theory, Den of Nerds, and then they do a nerd theory thing. Those are just some of my favorites, and they do just an amazing job. Heavy Spoilers also does a really cool review and breakdown of those things, and I just think they're so intricate, and they hit on a lot of things that, of course, I see, but I don't go through and write it down and do the hours of breakdown. And they have, you know, a lot of people, or not just a lot of people, but people with really good knowledge on how to break down some of those things correctly without misspeaking. So go and check them out if you want the huge detailed breakdown. But for me, I think it's a good start. It's in the right direction. I love Dave Filoni. I think that the character building, world building, I wasn't a massive fan of Rebels, not to say that I didn't enjoy it fully. I thought there was some good content in there. There was just a lot of things that I was just kind of like, you know, filler type stuff. And don't hate me for wanting instant gratification, but sometimes with Star Wars, I'm just like, hit me with the good stuff. But I do like those characters. I like how they're evolving. I do think there's promise. It still is a show, so it doesn't have the gleam of the movie, but, you know, Dave Filoni doing it, it still has a big film picture view to some of the scenes. So I am excited to see where it's going. So far, I give it like a 7.5, 8 for the first two episodes. Really hopeful. Moving forward, let's get past Star Wars stuff because I know everyone is not here for Star Wars, even though half of my room is that. Anyway, there's been a lot of stuff that I haven't been able to go over and review. I've done a couple of just instant reactions after a movie on my Instagram page. But, you know, for me, I've definitely haven't seen a lot of think pieces out there right now. I have yet to have gone and viewed Oppenheimer or Barbie because for me, I think a lot of it has to do with the way that you go into a film, and I think there's a lot of distraction, and some of that hype around those films can take away from the experience and take away from your view of it because everyone's kind of already putting a stamp on those films of like great writing, great directing, give them kudos for this, and this. And it's like I kind of like to go in and make obviously my own opinion. So, and I know that big movies are being affected by people not going to the theater as much, which is really sad that it's not the same experience as it used to be when you can stream things. And if things don't do well in the box office and they can get to a streaming site sooner, most people, consumers, would rather have it that they can watch it from their own home after a month after release. It's just a double-edged sword. And I am guilty as charged as well because as much as I was going to the theater, I kind of backed off. My friends have been telling me to get the movie pass, and that'll help me, encourage me to go a little bit more because I do love the experience, but it does cost, quite a bit on each adventure. Each outing is not simple, and especially if you're going with someone or a group of people or however you do it, you're still dropping some bucks. And now that they offer you alcoholic beverages for you adults out there, it's a little more enticing, but also those beverages are 12, 15, 16 bucks plus your popcorn. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. That being said, I've yet to see those. I will. I'm a huge fan of Christopher Nolan and everything, all the work that he's put out. So I am excited to see it in my own space and kind of make my own view. So I'm not sure that I'll do a full breakdown or anything of it, but I'll give my reaction once I see it. It'll be probably pretty brief and quick and be a check yes or no. Kudos to the Barbie film for all the marks that they're accomplishing and records they're setting. And I haven't seen it, but it's a step in the right direction for female directors and everything like that. Not to say they haven't been putting out great work, but they're just getting a lot of recognition for it. So excited to check that out too, because I've heard nothing but good things. For me this summer, or leading into the summer, the films that really I enjoyed thus far were like Across the Spiderverse. I just thought that was a really well written film and put together really well, and the animation is just phenomenal. It's just different. You go in thinking it's going to look one way, even though you've seen the first installment, and it just kind of really took me for a ride and kind of takes you away from the experience of going to the theater, knowing what you're getting yourself into. And I really think that should be the objective of a lot of films. It's, we're dealing with our day-to-day stuff, whatever you're going through. So having that little bit of release, going into a film that's fantasy or sci-fi or superhero, even though there is superhero fatigue going on, whether you think it's on the Marvel side, the DC side, it's really being worked right now. And some of it is doing well, and it's just different avenues that are doing well enough to keep the crowds coming to the theater. And for me, I think Spiderverse topped that notch. So I really enjoyed that. If you haven't seen that yet, I think it's now out on streaming sites or you can rent it or something like that. So go check it out. Next thing for me, I actually didn't go out to the theater again. I know, I'm sorry, but that Transformers film, Rise of the Beast, I thought it was super entertaining. It was on like Paramount or Peacock, one of the two right now. And yeah, I just thought it was a great addition to the whole franchise. I liked the Michael Bay films. A lot of people thought it was repetitive and loud and shiny and just all of the gadgets. And I like that stuff. Sometimes you just want to keep it simple. And the cartoon, I thought, kept it simple. So into the films, it did start to lag a little bit and get worn down. But I enjoyed every installment thus far. I think that this is a great new refreshing installment for people that were trying to get back into a little bit. Definitely worth the watch. Go watch Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Now, The Flash, I know this has already been talked about and being deemed a massive flop, but for me, it's like, man, I got to see Michael Keaton as Batman again. And you see these like gray hair stuff? This wasn't even on my face when I went and saw him as Batman. Those were some of the films that I was in the theaters, with my first girlfriends or interests or best friends, in school at the time. It just was like, it carried a lot of weight. And the way that they were done back then by Tim Burton and just the darkness and everything that came along with it was really setting a new standard for those genre films. So being able just to see him back on the big screen and seeing how they were going to integrate him into the story. And I know that there's all the controversy behind Ezra Miller, and I just didn't really focus on that part, and I wasn't supporting that part. I was just going to see the film in general that had already been made and put out, and I liked it. I thought it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was really big. It was just something that I was hoping would at least meet a standard, and it kind of went just a little bit further than that. Do I think that it's one of the best films ever put out there, the superhero or any other genre? No, but I think that for the times, with that genre being really tested, I think that it was a pretty cool film. So yeah, if you don't have, if you're not putting your morals too far into it, which, everyone's going to have their opinion, and I respect it, whether you're going to go or not based on your morals or opinions. I thought it was a fun film worth checking out, even if it just pops up on your TV at some point and you don't have to support it other than your subscription, whatever that is. Anyway, I also really enjoyed this film right over here, The Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I thought that was just nice, fun wrap up ride by a director that I am hoping does really big things for DC. James Gunn. I don't know, like leaving the MCU, and I get that they all bumped heads and they had that scandal scenario, and look into that as you will. I thought that it was really cool for him to come back though and do it in his style and his ideas and his humor and just the cast and everything, the camaraderie that came along with making that film. I just thought was great. So definitely go watch that out, and let's hope that James Gunn can do some fun stuff for DC, because right now it's just being deconstructed, and the final films of the DCEU are being done. It's just, I don't know if it's going the right way. I'm definitely very sentimental about some of the characters and actors, like Henry Cavill's Superman. I really enjoyed it. I wish he had a longer run, but that's in the past now. So let's move forward, and hopefully he comes good and creates something that everyone's like forgets about all of these moments when things were on the fence and people are pointing fingers. Anyway, here nor there. There I go. See, that's what I'm talking about. We're going to be doing rants. So sometimes when I start, have a strong belief or opinion about something, I'm just going to go off on it. Instead of going back and be like, oh, I talked too long on that, I should probably cut that part out. It's like, why? You guys are already here. So I'm just going to talk about that stuff. And if you want, there's also going to be little time markers down in the links in the bio, and you can skip it if you don't want to hear about it. Simple as, right? That's the choice we have on YouTube. All right, and for me next, I want to kind of talk about some films that I'm excited about. There are a couple of think pieces. Like I said, I haven't seen a lot out there that have really caught my breath. Like, ooh, man, that one had me. I'm in my head deep on that one. But there have been a couple of them, and they're not amazing. Everyone's not going to agree on these things, but I really did like on Netflix that movie, They Cloned Tyron. It's a little hidden gem because I wasn't expecting much, especially not to say that the actors, because superstar acting. I have John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and Tiana Paris. But for me, John Boyega has been doing some films that are he's trying to just stretch his acting legs, and some of them are not my cup of tea, but he's really good at what he does, obviously. And coming from the Star Wars universe, he didn't really have like the best of ending exit there, so I didn't know what to expect. I loved him in Attack the Block. That's what got him the role, and I think that this was kind of a return to a similar genre of acting or method acting to get into a role. He plays a drug dealer. Obviously, he's Tyron. Obviously, he's clone. Won't give too much away other than that. But it's just a really cool conspiracy rabbit hole fiction type deal that kind of reminds me of like Peele's movies, where it's not like that dark, but it's like it gets you thinking, and it has a really good cast. And Jamie Foxx in it is great, man. He's super cool. It kind of reminds me of the In Living Color days, where he's just he really engulfs some of those characters. So check that out. That's called They Cloned Tyron on Netflix. And for me, another one that I've got mixed reviews from friends and people that have watched it, and it's a show that's now on MGM Plus. All these subscriptions, it's so hard. You got and they don't let you share anymore. Come on, man. It's like, how about we put them all in one place so we can watch them? Oh, wait, that's cable. I think I've said that before. Anyway, here nor there, this show is called From, and it's by the creators of Lost. Similar concept. There's only 2 seasons in, so we don't know where it's going. If they end up being in purgatory, God, I will come back and say that I was wrong about this. But for me, I think it's a different type of show in the sense that they ask some of those questions, those big questions right out the gate, like the characters ask. Like in Lost, they were constantly questioning where this island was, where they were, how do they get off. In this one, they're already approaching the questions like, are we in purgatory? Are we dead? Is this magic? What's going on? And so I like that they've already started cutting down some of those. And even if it ends up being one of those things, at least they've approached it with common logic, to where any person that gets put in this scenario, we've seen these shows now, right? So if we were caught in some majestic island and everything seemed off, probably might be like this gray smoke is like we're definitely in some sort of weird sci-fi world here. What's going on? Let's check that out. So that's what I like, and I also like the cast. I think that they're really well cast, and that's where I've gotten some people that don't agree. They think the acting is terrible, the writing is terrible. For me, it's not manifest. That show, I don't want to talk badly, but that acting, it's so hard to get behind. Great concept, again, another kind of lost scenario, but I could not get past the acting or the writing. The script for some of these characters are just like, palm to face. Like, come on, you guys didn't watch this in editing and be like, this is ridiculous. Come on, people. Come on, Hollywood. But maybe that's why the strike's going on right now, Anyway, and let's talk about just some of the films that I'm looking forward to. And I'm not all about just all these genres, but they are things that like I really enjoy and really got me into reviewing and talking about films, because I just thoroughly dissect them, and they're timepieces for me as well. Like, I don't just, when I'm talking to somebody about a film, I don't just think about the film itself. I think about when it came out, how this person viewed it, how old they were when they were viewing it, alongside other films that were coming out at the same time, and the genres that it's put itself in, the category type deal. I do a lot of dissecting in my head, and through research on just a lot of these sites, to kind of get a general aspect besides just my opinion, my general opinion. So a lot goes into it, me mentally, to break this down. So again, some of these films, people are going to be like, yuck, boring, whatever. But again, they're to be talked about, like superhero fatigue. Once again, we'll talk about Blue Beetle. I think that it's already been praised by the Latino aspect and community, and I think that it's going to come good. It's really sad again that in these times people aren't going to the theater to see this, and DC has just gotten such a weird name, and partially because of James Gunn's drastic approach of cutting films and storylines and things like that. A lot of the films that are left over, like Aquaman and this, are kind of in limbo, because people are like, what's the point? Are they going to be used moving forward, or is this the end of their storyline? And it's just a very abrupt end to a lot of these things that were already in progress. But I am excited to see it. It's directed by Angel Manuel Sota, and I'm going to go give it a go. I'm going to go to the theater. I've been talking about how I need to get back to it, and I think that will be the film. It came out like last week, so I'm already a little bit behind, but I am excited to go and see that. I think the humor looks good, and I don't really go a lot by critic reviews and things like that. That's like the kettle being called black, right? But it did well on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that. So even if people are battling it out, and you see the critics still in the middle there's probably some sort of relevance or good content to go and view, right? So I'm going to go check that out. Blue Beetle in the theaters right now. Also, I'm super excited. Excuse me. Take some of my coffee there. Really excited about Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. His version of kind of the Star Wars saga, and I think that if it does well, it's supposed to be a trilogy or even longer, and then expand into its own universe. And I'm thinking that Netflix is really going to hop on this if it can make some money. And I think it's kind of their answer to seeing him not get to finish the Justice League. And also, he put a script into Lucasfilm for a Star Wars entry, and there's conflicting stories about how it got rejected, and so he decided to do his own thing respectfully. But any of that I'm going to enjoy, because Star Wars had a lot of influences, such as John Carter from Mars. If anyone's seen or read the book or seen the film, I absolutely love the film that came out. Disney was behind it, but it was supposed to be a trilogy as well, and George Lucas got a lot of his influences from that. If you watch it, you see Sand Planet, a lot of stuff. It's very influential, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like the actors. Was it Tyler Keish? Can't remember his name, but he's a fun actor to watch. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. There is a trailer out that came out a few days ago. It just looks nice and sci-fi and just like big in aspect storylines, the opera type space opera theme to it, and the music sounds really good. Some people that have viewed it think it might be a little too much and all over the place. But I think with something that big, it's kind of hard to contain when you've been working on it for so long, because he's been working on this for years now, and then put a trailer out without giving away too much, but also withholding stuff, but also making it look like it's going to be worth your time. There's a lot that goes into that. And sometimes the trailers come out and they don't, actually portray the film that you go and see. It's just like, wow, they really did a lot in this trailer. And now I'm watching this film and I'm like, all the good stuff was actually in the trailer and the rest of it's just filler. But I think that Rebel Moon personally is going to be amazing, and I'm already excited for the next installment, even if it doesn't do so well. I just think that it's a big world, and Zack Snyder has just great ideas. I think we've seen him do some really fun stuff with the Army of the Dead stuff and all that. It's just, I just think that he's got big ideas, and they're ones that I enjoy watching him bring to the big screen. All right, and for the last one that I'm excited about is The Creator. It's another sci-fi flick, and it's done by Gareth Edwards, the same guy that did Rogue One, and I think that is the best Star Wars content that has come out since Disney took over. I thought it was the most that resembled it, with just the look and the hue of the film and the way that it was filmed, the cinematography, the music, the acting, just the fact that there was real loss in it, and that there was a factor of loss, and that there was just real threat to the main characters, and also like heartfelt hope in there. I really enjoyed it. So watching the trailer for this new one with Washington, Denzel Washington's son, looks exciting, and it's post-apocalyptic, which I like most post-apocalyptic type genres. And but it's a war between, which could be real, AI and human. I feel like they're putting a lot more movies and shows and content out about that, because we're watching technology move so quickly right before our eyes. And I know Matrix topped it off or started it, but it's becoming a little bit more and more real when you can ask AI to write your paper or send a text or make you, show you a different version of yourself or a different version of something that's already been made, film-wise, pictures, songs, using the voice. I think it's a slippery slope. So this could be just warnings and iterations of what could be, or it's fantasy, and that's kind of for the viewer to decide. But for me, I'm looking forward to it. It also, again, looks visually stunning. The music looks good, and I've been waiting for something for Gareth Edwards to do something again since Rogue One, because I was just a massive fan of that installment. And that's what I have to say about some things right now. And I will continue to start adding on. I just wanted to get back into the flow of it. So this is the initial hop back into the mode, and just tell you guys thank you and kind of let you know where I've been at. And I will be back regularly again, weeks in, week out, chatting with you guys about new stuff. And if you guys have any recommendations, shoot them my way on any of the social platforms. I think I'll put those in the description area below. I'll do all of my links and stuff like that. But don't forget to smash a like, subscribe, and share. And I'm looking forward to entertaining more and bringing more info and just my views and little hidden gems out there, uncut gems out there for everyone to enjoy. So until next time, we'll talk to you soon. All right, much love. Peace.